All right, so Michael Wilson of Stanford goes off the board in the third round to the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to have the full breakdown on his game. Make sure you like and subscribe for us. Michael Wilson, again, when you're looking at him, he's 6'1", 215 pounds. He's the 31st pick of the third round in the NFL, so barely third round draft capital, but he gets that day two capital. He is 23 years old. Looking at his production at Stanford, his breakout year would technically be his freshman year, which was 2019. He had 56 receptions for 672 yards those years, and 5 receiving touchdowns. Since then, he's only played in 4 games in 6 games. So he's been injury ridden like most of his career. And he is a senior, so he's later breakout. I mean, unless you count that freshman year as a breakout, and a little bit
Yeah, it
older
was
coming
for a
in,
freshman, yeah.
a little bit older coming in. But this is a guy that has been kind of under the radar. Again, another receiver that has been under the radar for dynasty teams, for dynasty managers, that's now coming in and get respectable draft capital. So we've kind of sat here and refreshed and rewatched some film on him and gotten the full breakdown of his game from people that know more than us. So Nathan, give us a little bit of a hint on what his game is like and why he might potentially fit well with the Arizona Cardinals.
He's perfect for the Arizona Cardinals and what they need at the wide receiver position. So D Hop is we assume D Hop is going to be out of there. I think regardless, they're if they don't trade him, they're going to cut him, and they're going to avoid paying him all that cash, and that's left with Marquise Brown and Rondell Moore as really the primary threats there in that offense. And where's your short to intermediate threat? Well, Michael Wilson's going to be the answer to that. So he was really a Senior Bowl show out. He wasn't, I wouldn't say he was off people's boards, but people didn't really know much about him until he came and balled out at the Senior Bowl. And we were familiar with him. We knew his name. We knew a little bit about him and his story at Stanford. But again, it was nowhere near enough for us to put him even close to the top 24. He was kind of in that bank of unknowns. We're going to wait until draft capital tells us otherwise. And now draft capital has told us otherwise. Michael Wilson could absolutely be a relevant fantasy and dynasty asset on your team. I mean, pretty quickly. And this guy, I mean, I kid you not, from the film that I've seen, he is 90% of the targets he's getting are within 5 to 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. And if not, they're behind the line of
So
scrimmage.
Rondale Moore too.
And Puka Nacua is a guy that I really like. And he honestly kind of reminds me of him a little bit. They're using him in jet sweeps. They're using him in the run game. They like to give him some bubble screens. He's very, very talented after the catch. He's very elusive with the first guy specifically. If you've got Michael Wilson paired up one-on-one with a DB or a corner, you're counting on him to fake that guy out and get the extra 5 yards. And that's exactly what the Cardinals need in that offense to really put a lot of pressure off of Kyler Murray in the passing game so that he doesn't tear his ACL again. This is going to be a really great weapon for them to add.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, looking at Michael Wilson's 40s, he ran a 4.58, and his pro day was a 4.61. So he's
Yeah,
not
you're
the
not drafting
speediest
him for
guy, but
speed.
again, he's 6'1", 215. He is a bigger dude, but he's good with the ball in his hands, what it sounds like. And if they're using him as that gadget guy, I mean, again, we saw what was that dude's name that came in, that their receiver last year, the random guy on the Cardinals.
The random guy on the
Yeah, help me.
Cardinals,
Greg Dortch. Yeah, it was Greg Dortch.
He will be filling Greg Dortch's shoes, and he will be a better
I
version
mean, but even
of Greg
Greg Dortch, like
Dortch.
that, they have enough. I mean, it's going to be a different offense. And look, honestly, I'm not the most optimistic there, and they're not going to have Kyler right away. And so that part of it kind of does stink, is that the Cardinals' situation is a little bit murky. And
That honestly could be a plus for him, though, and obviously Marquise Brown
maybe.
is, I mean, whoever's playing in place of Kyler Murray for the first half of the season is going to want to make those easy throws, and Michael Wilson is going to be there every time. His skill set is literally within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
That's all they use him for.
So we'll see. I mean, I think obviously taking him in the third round, they plan to use him some, and it will be interesting to see in what capacity they use him, especially early on.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, with their offense being completely different than it was, because now they don't have Cliff Kingsbury. There's a lot of questions in Arizona. Michael Wilson is now a question as well, and it will be really interesting to see how his career develops and how he's potentially used next year. We have very little expectation for him from a fantasy perspective next year, but also has that potential to score 8 to 10 points a game. I mean, if given the opportunity, because he is that gadget guy. So we'll just have to see how they use him.
Marquise Brown is not exempt of injury struggles as well. I mean, all it takes is one man down in that offense in Arizona, and that's one step up for Michael Wilson. And, you know, it's got to be next man up. So with him and with every wide receiver in this class that's gone in the third round, keep an eye on him. follow don't follow the mainstream media news, but like do your research, do your film analysis, and see if you like the landing spot and their skill set, and and how that could translate to PPR, non PPR, and Dynasty, and see if you really want to invest in these guys. And honestly, even some of these players that we didn't expect to go as high as they did in this class, they're probably going to maintain their value. You cannot go wrong with rookie wide receivers. You just can't.
Yeah, 100% agree. All right, let us know what you think of Michael Wilson in the comments. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. We got Dynasty content coming out all offseason, and we're going to break down these rookies even more. This is our final draft video of the 2023 NFL draft that we're going to do live at least. So
I'm wiped.
we have done 35 or 40 videos in 2 days and like 29 alone. So we're pretty exhausted. For that reason alone, you should subscribe, because what other channels doing that?
We are dedicated.
All right, we appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you later.